So don't set yourself up. Always set your mindset up to be, I'm a queen and I deserve better. I wish I had some of the advice that I give you guys. Everything I'm giving you is stuff that I wish I had. Hey. I'm going to wait for y'all to jump in on this live. While I'm waiting, if you guys can share and let some people know that I'm on. Tonight's a hot topic. Tonight going to be a hot topic. Threesome or not? We shall see. So come on and join on. I'm going to wait for you guys, some of you guys to come and join on. And while I'm waiting for you guys to come on, if you guys can subscribe to my YouTube channel, please subscribe, because the YouTube channel also notifies you when I'm on. And I will also at some point transition to that, to the YouTube channel only from the Facebook Live. So make sure you subscribe. I will put the link. The link is on my Let's Chat with Auntie Nella page already. The link is on there. So just make sure you subscribe. And we're going to do this thing. So I'm going to wait a little bit for you guys to jump on. Hey guys, welcome. Let some people know that I'm on live. And we can get this party started. I'm going to wait for a few more people to jump in. And I do have a guest tonight. Hey, cousin, how are you? Hey, Miss White, how are you? Hey, Jeffrey. Hey, Erica. Hey, Jackie, how are you? Hey, Kimberly. Tramaj. Can you reach me a pen right quick? All right, you guys, I'm going to wait till we get about 10 people on here. We have 7 now, so I'm waiting for some more people to come on. Once they come on. Hey, Zanisha, how are you? Once they come on, we're going to get this party started. So I want you guys to put your thinking caps on. Don't be afraid to share. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because y'all know my motto. You ask me a question, Auntie Nella going to give you the answer. Whether you expecting it to be mild or spicy, it's coming either way. So go ahead and go ahead and let some people know, share my live and let people know that I'm on live. I'm waiting for, I also have a special guest tonight too. Arnella Phillip, I'm waiting for her to jump on too. Let me see if I could add her right quick. Nope, not yet. She's not quite on just yet, but once she gets on. All right, so we look like we're at that 10 mark. Hey, Sissy, how are you? So we look like we're at that 10 mark. Let's get this party started. Well, the reason why I decided, I did this before. I did this one before. And so when I did this Freaky Friday before, we talked about it, and it was hot. It was hot. And so someone requested it to kind of revisit it again. And I did this one. I did the Threesome Or Nah like a year ago. So I wanted to bring it back on so we can, chat here a little bit about it. And I'm gonna give a disclaimer. This is a no judgment room. We're not gonna judge people. People choose to do what they want to do. I'm gonna give you my advice. I'm going to tell you what I would do or what I wouldn't do. It's up to you what you choose to do. I'm not going to knock you because you choose to do it. That's not what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to knock you. If that's what you choose to do, that's what you choose to do. So go ahead and let some people know that we're on live. And then let me add her in here right quick. Okay. Go ahead and let some people know that we're on live. We're going to get this party started. So I'm going to start off, you guys. Hey, LaShonda, how are you? So I'm going to start off. I'm one of these people that when it comes for threesomes, it's to each its own. Whoever it is you choose to do what you choose to do. But what I'm going to tell you is
Auntie Nella ain't sharing her man, her husband, her nobody with nobody. I'm not about to do that. I'm not about to do that because a threesome comes with a lot of good things, I guess, for some people. Hey, Nisi, but it also can come with a lot of bad things. And so when you choose to do a threesome, you have to be very careful with your decision, but you also have to be careful with the person or the persons that you're deciding to do your threesome with. You have to take all of that into consideration. And you have to take it into consideration simply because if you pick the wrong people, it can go way south. If you pick the right people, it can go way south. So it can go way south either way. I don't care how you crumble the cookie. And what I mean by going south either way is this. If I choose the bad person or the wrong person, that person may create the demise of my marriage, my relationship. Okay? If I create the wrong person on the opposite end or the right person, I could choose to want to be with that person, or my partner could choose to want to be with that person. So on either end, it can go into that direction. So that's why I tell people this all the time. I'm never going to tell you what to do. You're grown enough to make your own decision. But know one thing. If you decide to jump in that threesome water, you better pull your big boy pants up, your big girl leggings up, and know that whatever comes, you have to accept it, baby. You got to accept it. Because if you choose to go there, you got to accept the good, the bad, the ugly that's coming along with it. And so you just have to make sure, is this something I want to do? I'm a person that will choose not to do it because, like I said from just a second ago, I'm not willing to share. And when I married my husband, it was me and my husband. Not me, my husband, and adding another person in the mix. No, sorry, bye. I'm not about to do it. That's not going to happen. So for me, I made sure that I'm going to add our guest speaker in. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. I was adding Arnetta in. So I want to make sure I'm not going to do that because, hey, Arnetta, how are you?
Hey.
I'm just talking a little bit and then I'll join you in on some of the questions. Okay. I'm going to choose not to do, I choose not to do it simply because you can open up so many doors, and the doors you open up, you may not be able to shut them quick enough. And so those doors could be either you choose to go the direction with the person you added in the mix, or your spouse or your partner may choose to do that. Or the other problem that you have is, what if they decide to sneak around on y'all? They decide to, do their own thing, or you decide to do your own thing with that person. You got to have a strong willpower, a strong mind to be able to withstand a threesome deal. You got to, because if it goes south, it can spin you in a whole different direction that you weren't ready to deal with. And so you just want to make sure you know what you're doing when you decide, okay, I want to do something freaky. I want to do something, I want to please my husband. I want to please my wife. But you may be pleasing them to a limit that you ain't willing to push them to. You ain't willing to push yourself to. And so that's the thing that you have to think about. A threesome, I mean, most of the time with threesomes is usually 2 women in the main, but I guess they could be 2 men and a woman. But I'm just saying, I'm just not what I'm. So let me step back a little bit. When the threesome going on, what the hell I'm doing? I'm watching him please her, or I'm watching her please him. Cause listen, you got one person. And yeah, that one person could, do multiple things with his hand or her hand or whatever. But let me tell you something. When you connected to that one person, or you connected to that man, and he got to please 2 women and entertain 2 women at the same time, I'm so sorry. That ain't for me. That ballpark ain't for me. I would listen. Anybody who know me, and I've always said this, I'm going to make sure at the end of the day, my spouse is pleased. But what I'm not going to do is, I'm not going to please him with another woman in the bed with us. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. That other woman didn't get mad when we were standing at the altar. It was me and him. I'm not putting no another woman in that bed with me because I know how I am. I know my mindset. I ain't got time to be flipping out and going to jail because I will go to jail behind mine. So I ain't got time for it. I ain't got time for it. But Sister Netta, I'm going to shut up a little bit because I got a couple of questions for you. And so I made the disclaimer from the beginning. I said, this is a no judgment zone. If you hear the judge, then you must be worried about yourself. So don't be coming out here judging people. People have passed, people didn't have passed before they got, where they are today. Right. So my question for you is, would you decide to do a threesome if you had an opportunity to do a threesome?
So let me just say, and thank you for that disclosure.
Yep.
Because I had to prepare myself. I got my little pajamas on and everything for y'all tonight, sit back, and everything. But before I got saved,
yep.
Young, dumb, and naive,
yep.
Early marriage,
yep.
It destroyed my marriage.
Bam. So I tell people, you have to know what you're doing.
And it wasn't that I thought that I was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
When my husband brought it to my husband at the time, which was my kid's father.
Yeah.
When he brought it to the bedroom, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we had some discussions, and I was a little leery. But then I was kind of like, oh, I'm a big girl. I can, I could do this.
Yeah.
And we indulged.
Yeah.
And everything that you just said is what really happened. So It happened. It happened. It was.
So let me ask you this. Let me stop before you answer that one.
Okay.
So when you decided to say, so let's step back a little bit. So your husband, I'm going to assume, I don't know. I'm going to assume your husband brought it to you. Or did you guys agree upon it together?
He brought it to me.
Okay.
And then we had to have several discussions as to who.
Yes,
it
that's
would be.
My next question. Yep.
Right. And we had to discuss. So he already had somebody in mind.
Of course he did. Yep.
Right. So we had to discuss as to who.
Yeah.
And then I had to, do some little fillers, bite over a couple of times just to see what a groove was and everything like that.
Correct.
But
did you create boundaries?
Yes, we created boundaries. We did.
And tell me a little bit what those boundaries might. I'm gonna let you tell me, and then I'm gonna tell you what if I were to choose it, what my boundaries would be.
So after we decided, the boundaries was that it would not be like no separation. So it couldn't be that
him and her or
him and her just go off and they do their thing, or whatever, right? It could not be that. Yeah. If we was going to do this, it would be with the three, and that's that. And it's not going to go outside. He couldn't sneak over to her place and and do what he thought he could do or whatever.
So another quick question.
Yeah.
It's good that you say that, because then my question is, how would you be able to curve that? You know what I'm saying? How
you can't. You can't. You can't, because it's a itch that you can't scratch.
Correct. And it's a trust thing. If you're going into it, you gotta hope your partner is, being honest And the vow that you made is to say, you know what, if I choose to do this, we're going to make sure you do this. And hoping that they follow it. But 5 out of 10,
they don't.
never going to follow it. Because
they don't. And
fetish,
this is not
the fetish around it is what gets them.
Right. And so when they enjoy what they're doing, they're going to want it again. So that's why I say it's an itch that you can't scratch.
Yeah.
No matter what boundaries you set, or no matter how you trust your mate.
Yep.
Eventually the trust got broken.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, or I don't even know how to say luckily, because she brought it to me.
Okay.
She came to me and said, look, I heard what you said, but he has come several times. And so my question to her was, even though you heard what I said, did you indulge?
So my question is, she came to you after the third time to tell you your husband came to her several times, and she heard what the decision that you guys made in the beginning. So then why wait to come to me? See, that's the problem I have. And that's where I'm going to lose my cool. Because in the same token, I can't really hold her wholeheartedly responsible, simply because your husband owe you that. Your husband owe you that, not her. But in the same token, look, heifer, don't come to me after the third time to tell me my husband came to you 3 times or 2 times. And then my question is, did she indulge?
She did. She did indulge. And I think I think that it was her guilty conscience.
Wait.
Behind it. Wait. Now let me. I think it was
what
her
you
guilty
did when
conscience.
she said. What you said when she said, "Yeah, I did it."
I kind of lost it and grabbed her by her head and asked her, was she crazy?
That's what I'm saying. Because she could have kept it to herself.
Just because you do it unto others, I ask you not to do that to me.
Yeah.
You know, and then you come and tell me that you said you heard what our boundaries is, but then it's still. And so I think I only grabbed her by her head because she said, I like what I got.
See, that's
and I was like, oh.
The hardest part is, it's almost like you adding fuel to the fire, because you intentionally hurt me. You intentionally hurt me by coming to me to tell me the fact that she got bold enough to come to you to tell you, well, I heard what you said, but I need to tell you this. Well, you gonna hear this 2-piece. That's what you about to hear. You about to hear this 2-piece, because you gotta respect me enough to be like, well, you know what? If I'm doing it, I would have rather her not even come back to me, Arnetta, and tell me. I would have rather just found it out on myself.
But I took it to him after I realized that I had her by her head.
Yep.
I was like, okay. So I told her to get out of my house and don't come back no more.
Yeah.
And I pray to God that I don't see her anywhere.
Correct.
And I have run across her a couple of times or whatever, and you know, it's like, hey, and you know, keep it moving. But when he came home, and then I addressed him about it, you know,
did he admit
it? At first he denied it, and so really what happened was that I just said okay when he told me no at first, and I just said okay. So to make her make up for what she done, she waited till he came over again, and then she called me.
Yep.
And then I went over, and when I went over, he was there.
Correct.
And then that's when it became a difference between him and I.
Ooh, Mister would have had his skull correct. Let me tell you something.
So, you know, I'm just kind of like, and don't think he didn't, because when he came home, baby, the broomstick was beating him all upside his head.
He
And
bold,
my
because how
kids
you
laugh
come
and joke
home?
about it now. The
Yeah,
kids laugh and joke about it now because they remember me beating him with the broomstick when he come in
that's
the
right.
door.
That's right.
So, it is what it is. But I can disclose that because that was in my past. And
Absolutely.
that was something. So if you, and it's just like you said, if you are not, that is something that you have to mentally be
You got
ready for.
you got to accept the wins and the losses, and you have
Yes,
to accept
you
those wins and
definitely
losses
do.
before. You have to, because
Yeah,
if you go into it like, okay, I'm going into it to please my husband, then what you're doing is you're setting yourself up already. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you're not doing it for you. You're not doing it for your pleasure. You're doing it to
right,
please your husband. And 5 out of 10 in that case, what happens is it always goes south, because you're
yeah,
almost coerced into it. You've been
yeah,
asked so many times, you're at the point that, you know what, I done hit this brick wall 50 times. I can't go no other direction. But let me
right.
read this comment, because this is so true, by Miss White. She said, I'm my own threesome for mines. I don't share my mighty meat and me either. I ain't sharing my patty pie with nobody. I'm going to share it
Right,
with me and my husband. I don't
right.
care if it's a male or female. It's me and my husband. I'm not doing, because I know that I'm not mentally strong for that. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
equipped to be able to accept if it goes south. Because let me tell you something. I'm flatting tires. I'm busting windows. Every time I see him, we going to fight.
Right,
We got a ball every time, because I feel like y'all play me. So you walk me into this threesome to do this threesome, knowing or not knowing how it was going to go out, but he already knew that he probably had a liking to her. He already knew he had a liking to her, but he wasn't sure how it was going to turn out in the bed. And when it turned out in the bed for him, just great, he knew he was going full force at that point. And
yeah.
so we have another question. How long did it go on before things turned left? That's for you, Sister Nick.
How long did it?
How long did it go on? Meaning, him and her doing their thing on the side before it turned left. I mean, how long did the threesome go on? No.
It wasn't even. It wasn't even. I could say it wasn't even a month. Like, it wasn't even a month.
So the threesome was done one time,
Yes.
and then after that, that was the biggest.
Yeah, the threesome was done one time. Yeah, yeah, the threesome was done one time.
Yep.
And I'm assuming, like, after the one time, then I don't know, 2-3 weeks went by or whatever, and I'm assuming it had to be like once or twice a week or something that he went snuck over, whatever. And then I think about the third week or the fourth week, maybe about a month later, she finally come and she confessed and told me. And
Baby.
then
He would have
like
been sneaking a couple of black eyes when I'd have got
right.
finished with him.
But that woman intuition kind of tells you that something ain't right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I felt that. Yeah. I just couldn't put my finger on it, because it had got to the point to where he was like a little bit later coming home. Because I was the type of wife, like, kids was ready, bays ready for dinner. Dinner was ready. We ready to sit down to dinner as a family, because we sat down and ate together, watched different stuff, played games and different stuff like that. But when he started being late, that was a red flag to me. And I didn't know where it turned left. So, of course, all of these things, started, reminiscing in my mind and different things like that. Right.
Yeah, it does.
And so it wasn't until, like I said, she came to me, and when she came to me and told me, and then my mother always, my mama and my grandmother always told me, until you see it for yourself, all you can do is assume, right? You got to have concrete evidence. Correct. And so when she come and told me, like I said, I, snatched her up or whatever, and then I had to come to my sister, because I was like, okay, I'm not going to go to jail for you or him, number one, because I got kids, right? And then I just said, okay, so like I said, right after that happened between her and then I confronted him about it, and then he lied about it. And then when he came to her again, that's when she called me. And she's like, I'm just calling to tell you he at my door. He's over here.
So question for you. Did he end up with her?
No.
Okay, so he didn't end up with her. Let me read this comment from Darnisha. Darnisha said, with a threesome, the man already likes the girl that he brings into the bedroom. That was one of the other things I was going to bring up. If anybody out there and they choose to do a threesome, and you choose to do a threesome, that's your decision. But one of the disclaimers I was going to say to you, because I love that I love that you're sharing candidly, because never put yourself in a position to let your mate bring, especially if he's the one who's pushing the issue. Let's do a threesome, let's do a threesome, let's do a threesome. Never allow him to bring somebody in the bedroom. Because to me, I feel like that's a catch-21. Because, and the reason why I say that is either he know her, he done dealt with her, he liked her, he done tried, but now he want to bring her into the bedroom to make it seem like it's the right thing to do. When he already know that's what he wants to do. He want to try the cookie. He wants to bite that cookie before.
Right. He does, but 9 times out of 10, I think if a man brings it to the bedroom, it's a fantasy of theirs.
It is.
Right? If they haven't already tipped the spoon with it and tried to get over there in it already, then it's just a fantasy that they want to fulfill.
Correct. I'm going to tell you another thing. I know, and my husband know this about me. The first time he will bring a conversation up about a threesome, I'm looking cockeyed. 3 what? 3 who? 3 when? 3 where? You want me to go get it could be me, you, and some ice cubes. That'll cool you off. But I also think when us as women and the man bring it to us and we're not firm on it, they will continue to push the issue because they already know that at some point they're gonna get us to vote.
Give in.
Because they already know that your curiosity is there. And so they know that. But if it's shut down from the beginning, and we all do stuff. Let me tell you something. That's some crazy stuff that I done in my life. You know what I'm saying? And so we all do crazy stuff when you're young because you just don't know. You don't know what, you don't have the wisdom that you have currently today. That you wish you can step back and look back and say, you know what, I should have thought twice about that. I don't know why I made the decision to do that. But at the end of the day, when you make a decision like the decision you made and it turns south, then the issue that you run into is, how do I pick the pieces up? Because listen, I said this on Tuesday when I talked. Us as women, we carry our feelings a little bit different than an average, than a man does. A man can lay down with a thought, his wife, his co-worker, his church member. Yeah,
and care less.
Yeah, I said church member because they do it too.
Yeah.
They could do all of that, and they'll smile in your face and act like none of that wrong either. But what I'm gonna say about that is, at the end of the day, they go through all that. He doing all what he's doing. At the end of the day, when you lose them, we are wounded, and it takes a little time to recover from that. And recovering from that is, you start to play things in your mind like, was I not good enough? Maybe he didn't like me in the bed. Maybe I didn't do something. Maybe she was prettier than me. Maybe her body looked better than me. I don't care who you are. You could be the baddest chick. You could have the best body. You could be have the cutest face. You could do anything there is under the sun to please your mate. But you still gonna question yourself.
You always question yourself.
You always.
You always question. I mean, and not even just on that factor of just allowing somebody else in. Just the breakup period a breakup period, you always question yourself. Like, what did I do so bad that she's doing differently or whatever? You know what I mean?
What move I didn't make that she made that was better than me?
What move? Yeah, am I not like, maybe she's shaking it more to the right and I'm a more to the left person or something other like that. You know what I mean?
It's a checklist.
So you're gonna always question yourself. I think the one lesson that I carry from doing that, and that's why when you said you was bringing that up, I was like, okay. I've learned through my years that you go through things so that you can share with other women.
That's right.
And
so
other
they don't
people.
make those mistakes.
So they don't make those mistakes.
Absolutely.
So I don't feel bad.
No,
you know, because like I said, I was young, dumb, and naive, and plus I had a little substance in my system to kind of make me get in the groove and make me, you know, in the mood and be okay with the whole thing. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like just, you know, sometimes when you do them things, it's not that you're just doing it just to be doing it or being candid or whatever. There's always something else behind it, whether if it's drugs, whether if it's alcohol or whatever. That enhancement is going, or if you pop a pill, take an enhancement or whatever, something is going to be behind the feeling. It is not going to be your human feeling, right?
It's funny
that is just going to indulge into that.
It's funny that you say that, because one of the things I always said when, you know, and this question have been asked to me so many times, y'all, so many times this question have been asked to me, and my answer stands firm. I've never done a threesome. I would never do a threesome. But I know why I never did it, because I know me. And I did the checklist in my own head. Don't think the question haven't been asked. Don't think it hasn't been asked before. It has been asked, but I had the checklist in my head and did the checklist in my own head and know if it goes south, how you gonna handle it. You know, and so for me, I knew that wasn't good, because I'll be sitting in jail. I have some jail time. I'll be eating peanut butter sandwiches with stale bread in jail. And so I ain't got no time for to be sitting behind
all
bars.
of that. Right.
But Marisa, let me read this comment too. So Marisa says, I think threesomes are for people who are just having fun, not people who are in a serious relationship. I agree with you, but know that in real life, it's usually bought in real relationships. It's usually bought in real relationships. And then Darnisha says, it is a fantasy, and he wants some of that too. I agree. It's a way for him to be able to get his cake and eat it too. And so,
but it's not just a fantasy for him. It's a fantasy for her as well. Because if you don't know your own sexuality, right? And if you don't know your own sexuality within your own self, then yes, you will indulge and you will experiment, right? And it might feel good to you or not feel good to you, but you indulge. And just like the young lady said, you know, it's a, you know, I think that if you're not in a serious relationship with somebody, right? If you're not in a serious relationship with somebody and you just want to tickle that itch that you got, or then you tickle it. But that means you're going home by yourself. You're not going home with somebody.
There's no ties and there's no strings attached.
There's no ties, no strings attached, no nothing. You know what I mean? So go ahead.
So quick question. This is another question. What if a woman brings it to the man? If a woman brings this to the man, that's right, no different. I'm gonna say this. That's that person's choice. That's that person's choice. They have to be the one to say what I'm gonna do and what I'm not gonna do. Listen, it happens on both things. It happens where women have an itch to see what it's like to be with another woman. Men have an itch to see what it's like to be with two women at the same time.
It's the same thing.
So it's the same thing. The only difference is I think if I had to come up with a poll for a percentage, it would be less for women to be the first one to initiate it it will be more for men. And I think more for men because it's a fetish around it. It's a fetish for them. Women, if a woman comes to it, a woman wants it because they want to experiment with another woman.
Right. And I think men only do it because they hear other men talk about it.
Yeah, they do.
I don't think so, you know, like just say for instance, I don't think my husband at the time, my boy's father's at the time, I don't think he would have suggested that, but it was the friends. So that's why they say be careful about the company that you keep.
Yeah.
And I believe that.
But don't give him that out because he's his own man.
No.
He had to have that fetish too. He had to want it. But
he had to want it. Right. But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Don't be careful about the company that you keep. Okay.
Yeah, you do.
Because the person that we did indulge with.
Yep.
Was a friend. Was company that we kept. So it was also like a group of us. You know, when they back then, you know, when I was younger, you know, the little swing thing, that was the swinging party. That was the happening, right. That was the happening thing, you know, but like I said, I was young, dumb, and naive. You know what I mean? I ain't know no better, and I don't think he knew no better either. No. You know what I mean? But now, and since then, even though we end up getting divorced, we was married for 14 years, but we end up getting a divorce. Yeah, we end up getting a divorce and everything.
Did you say 14 years?
14 years. We was married for 14 years.
I'm telling you.
For 14 years.
Annetta, listen, I have 20 to life. 14 years? Ooh. Yeah. And that's the thing for me that I'm honest with myself, and I'm connected to myself. I will say this. I wish that I had the wisdom I give out today I had back then. I wish somebody would have given me the wisdom, the raw and uncut story that I give to people currently today. Because and the reason I chose to do that is because I got tired of people, I'm asking a question and I'm asking for a direct answer, but I'm getting a wishy-washy answer. Right. And so I've always
because people are not honest. I think the only reason we get the wishy-washy answer is because people hasn't come to fruition or come to truth for themselves.
Yeah, they're not comfortable.
And they're not comfortable. They're not comfortable telling the truth. They're not comfortable disclosing their past. But if you don't disclose your past, right? If you don't let these people, young people, middle-aged people, whoever, young women, middle-aged women, young married couples, middle-aged married couples, older married couples, if you don't disclose this information, it will destroy them.
If you don't,
it will destroy them.
If you don't, you know, if you don't share it, you know, last year when I started this, one of the things I said in one of my lives is that, you know, you have so many people who get married and they get caught up in the glory of being married and I got a maid and I got a spouse, but they don't think past that. They don't think past that. You know what if, you know what, we get to year 2, we get to year 3, we get to year 4. Bam, we got a roadblock. What do? Most people gives up. Most people will give up. And so I say this, and I will always say this. People say all the time, I just wish I could be married. I wish I had a husband, you know, blah, blah. And this is my response to them. Marriage ain't what it's all cracked up to be. Right. And I'm going to say that to say this. If you're not willing to work, if you're not willing to give and take, if you're not willing to do things, and I don't mean when I say things, I mean, I'm saying bad things, meaning do things to make your marriage or your relationship grow, then your marriage or your relationship will fail before it starts. You have to create a foundation. And that foundation has to be a firm, strong, stable foundation. If you don't create that firm, stable foundation, you end up accepting some things that you would normally do. Because what you're thinking is, or what they may think is, you know what, this is part of being married. You know, I got to try some things. This is some things I have to try to be able to make my marriage work. This is some things I got to do to please my spouse. Don't ever do something in your marriage. Don't ever do something in your relationship that's going to take away your self-worth. Because at the end, when you finish it and you do it and you're not happy about it, then where did you gain? All it did was please one person. And a marriage is not one person. A marriage is two. Both people have to be pleased in it. So choose to do what you choose to do, but know that however the cookie crumble, you have to say, God, allow me to be willing to help. It's a full-time job. There's times where I've been with my husband for a total of 35 years. We've been married for 30 years. And I will tell anybody, there's good days, there's bad days. The first 5 years of the marriage was the worst. 5 years. That's the worst, because you're tested. If you can get past that 5-year mark, then you're good. If you get past that 5-year mark in a marriage, you're good. And I had 5 years in on a relationship, and we got married 5 years after 5 years we got married. And so you would think like somebody would say, she was with him for 5 years, it should have been easy then, she know. No, marriage is a little bit different. You take on a different, hat when it comes down to you marrying a person versus in a relationship, because a relationship, I could choose, I done been with him for 5 years, but I could choose to walk off if I want to. But a marriage, if you're committed, and I want these young folks to hear this. When you decide to get married, don't get caught up in what dress you're going to wear. Don't get caught up on how your makeup going to look. Don't get caught up in your girls' dresses. Don't get caught up in the glorification of the wedding. And that's what happens. People get caught up in the wedding. They don't get caught up in the fact of, you know what? This is a job. I have to take this serious. I have to work at it. And in order for us to keep climbing, we both have to keep working at it.
Right.
And so that's sometimes why, and I ain't gonna say sometimes, most of the times in a marriage, when you get into a marriage and you make decisions with a threesome, is usually because in the beginning you haven't taken the time to create a checklist and say, here's what I'm gonna do and here's what I'm not gonna do. So you in that relationship blindly. Anytime you get into a relationship in a marriage, you need to create a rock bottom checklist. And I'm going to tell you what that rock bottom checklist is. You need to have your decisions of what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. And what I mean about that is what you're going to take in a marriage and what you're not going to take in a marriage. Because I know people that have been in a marriage that have been cheated on so many times, but they constantly go back. They constantly stay put. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying my husband cheat and I'm going to be like, oh, okay, I'm done. I'm not saying that. But I have a rock bottom when it comes to the cheating for me. And my rock bottom is this. If you cheat on me and you cheat on me with somebody and there's intercourse involved, that's a no-no for me. Because for me, there's an emotional connection. Maybe not be from you, but it's damn sure an emotional connection from that woman or that girl you had sex with.
So let me jump in right there, because that's a notion as women that we're not taught.
Yeah.
We're not. So until unless you know God and you know his word, he says that we are spiritually connected, right? So with that being in a marriage, when that person, when you go out or when your spouse goes out, they bring that spirit home with you.
Yeah.
And then they lay down with you. Now you connected to that spirit.
Yep.
Not even knowing.
Yep.
If you didn't even know, not
Yeah.
even knowing, you are connected
Correct.
to that spirit.
You are. Yep.
So that's why it's important that we have these conversations like this,
Yes.
because a lot of them don't know. They
No,
don't
they don't.
understand
No,
that
they don't.
it's a spiritual connection. And
Yep.
then you wonder why you keep letting them come back, because
Yep.
now you're spiritually tied,
You know
you
what
know?
somebody told me, and it's funny that you say that. Somebody told me that so their spouse kept cheating on them, kept cheating on them, kept cheating, and they was in church and stuff like this, and they kept saying, well, God told me to stay with my husband and keep fighting for my marriage. But here's the notion where people have to step back with that. God ain't telling you to continue to put yourself in harm's way and continue to be hurt. And
Right.
God is not telling you to fight for a marriage when you're the only one fighting for that marriage, boo-boo kitty. He's not telling you to do that. He's not telling you
Right.
to fight for a marriage when it's you. It's two people in a marriage. And if
Right.
I'm going to fight for my marriage, brother man better be fighting for my marriage with me. Because if he
Right.
ain't fighting for my marriage with me, then
What are you
why am
fighting
I in
for?
it? Then
That's
why am I
right.
in it? Because
That's right.
what I'm doing is I'm fighting for the marriage and he washing it out. I'm fighting for the marriage, he washing it out. And so when you continue to stay in a relationship, in a marriage, and knowing that that person continues to hurt you, knowing that that person continues to do harm to you in a sense of cheating or whatever they do, you're hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself when it's all said and done. Don't put yourself in harm's way. Don't be a floor mat for nobody. I don't care who. He could be the nicest looking dude. He could be a millionaire. Take your damn $1 million and go sit down somewhere. I want my peace of mind. So I agree with you that it's important that we take the time to be able to share, and let people know, because sometimes people get into, situations where, they'll just continue to do threesomes, a new person. Well, he won't try a threesome with somebody else. All he doing is fishing for another woman, boo.
That's all.
That's all, because
That's all.
if he had a threesome and it filled his his fetish, then why you need to keep doing it? You better get the hell up out of my face. Okay, I'm a threesome. I'm gonna hit them 2 eyes and that nose if you don't get out of my face. That's what I'm about to do.
Right.
And so I just think we need to connect with ourselves.
Right. You have to connect with yourselves, but I also think if a man keeps bringing that back to you after the first time, then that's a red flag right there.
Yeah,
and you gotta know. You gotta know. Something ain't right here. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. God didn't say be no fool, right? He didn't say be no fool.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
He's saying all that knowledge, get understanding. Okay.
Right.
So why you keep, like you say, why you keep coming back to me with it when we done it, we done discussed it, we done did it, it's done, it's over with. And now you bringing it back. No. Because the statistics now in a marriage is 1 out of 10 couples that gets married now in these days, only when they say them vows, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, to death do us part. Only one. The statistic says that only one person that's saying those vows, 9 out of 10, right? Only one person is saying them vows, whether both of them mean it for the good.
Correct. I agree.
The other nine, one is saying it from the heart, and the other one is saying it for the panties.
Correct.
Make it simple.
I agree. I agree with you. Let me read this comment from Darnisha. Darnisha said, and I have the conversation and have the conversation with your mate. Most people don't have those do's and don'ts. All right, y'all. I'm sorry. My live just completely cut itself completely off. And we was in a good discussion. Sister Nella, come back on here. If you see this live, back on here. I apologize. You guys, it just kicked me completely out. While I was reading that comment. So
I apologize.
I don't know what happened. It just completely kicked me out. So I had to start another live. Sorry. It completely kicked me out. I don't know why. It just started acting weird and then it just dropped.
You know the devil.
But the devil busy, girl. They don't want us to get this information out. The devil's a liar, though. But what did we stop? What was we discussing on?
We was talking about, well, I had made the statement that the statistics said that 9 out of 10 marriages, only one couple actually says the vows and mean it for the good. I said the other 9, one person is saying it for the heart and the other person is saying it for the panties. And it could be the man or the woman, either way it goes.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's why if you notice, like in a marriage or relationship, what will happen is either the person that's not in it for the marriage to commit, they're usually the ones that probably will bring up some stuff and bring some things to you and want to do some weird stuff and not coming home on time. So they're usually the ones that, you know, will bring that stuff to you. But it can also happen on the opposite end, because I could go into it saying I'm going to take my vow serious. But then somewhere along the way, I lost my way. And so then I'm not that person. I'm not that person that's willing, you know, right now to commit. So I could also be the person that may be, you know, willing to bring in some stuff to create some cracks in the foundation. So I will say some people go into it, you know, thinking, you know what, I'm going to give it 110%. But there's a lot of people that are out there that's not equipped to deal with troubles when troubles come.
Right.
So, you know, when they say, you know, the waters are raging, and, you know, some people are not willing to sit and let the waters calm, you know, and say, you know what, I'm going to fight this thing out.
Right.
You know, I committed, I'm going to fight this thing out. Some people just, you know, ready to give up. You know what, this too much for me. You know, I'm packing my stuff. I'm done. I'm leaving.
Right.
You know, and so that's the part that makes it difficult because you can't be the other person. You want to be the other person. You want them to think the same way you think, but they have to be willing to commit and love as well as you are. And if they're not willing to do those things, then there's going to be a struggle either way. But the both have to be willing to say, you know what? I made my mistake. And I'm going to say this. There's women who make mistakes. I don't want people to think that it's all about a man.
Right.
You know, a man is always making a mistake. A man is always bringing it through. When I talk, I may not say man or woman, but I'm talking on both. Because there's women who do just as much that men do.
Yeah.
Do just as much dirt as men do.
Yes.
The thing I say about us as women is we smart creatures. We know what to do to get that man. We know what to say to get that man. We know the right clothes to put on for that man to see us. We know all the right buttons to push to be able to make sure we get the attention we're looking for.
Right.
And sometimes all good attention that we think may be good attention is not always good attention. And so you just have to make sure whatever you decide to do going into your relationship, you create that checklist so you can make sure your foundation is strong and stable. So my question to you, Arnetta, now that we've discussed the threesome, if you could step back into that place you were prior to, would you do a threesome or not?
Without no, I wouldn't. I would not have. If I would have known that it would have made my marriage take the turn, and no, I do in a marriage, I do not recommend that.
Yeah.
For in a marriage, I just don't. I don't recommend it because you physically and mentally, like you said, have to be paired for the outcome. And whatever the outcome is, you got to be willing to take responsibility, and you got to be willing to make the turnaround to better yourself. So if you're not willing and be willing to accept the truth, And that's the thing. You got to be willing to accept the truth. So if you're not willing to accept the truth and take responsibility, it'll drive you batty. It will drive you batty.
Correct.
And so
you will lose yourself
right.
in it. And that's the difficult piece of it. You will lose yourself in that. And what I mean by not lose, I don't mean losing yourself in the threesome. You will lose yourself in all of the things that you're now questioning yourself about.
You just lose yourself, period.
Is she pretty? Is she cute? You will lose completely. And the mindset that you have is, it makes it difficult sometimes for some people to move forward to the next relationship. Right. Because now you're caught. You're in jail. Actually. You're putting yourself in threesome jail because now you like, Lord, I done did this threesome, maybe I'm not good to move on, maybe I don't look good. You start to deal with your self-worth. Yeah. And that's one of the things I want these young folks, these older folks, anybody out there, male, woman, I want y'all to think, look, don't let nobody strip your self-worth from you. Because when your self-worth is stripped from you, there's some things where you may choose to do. There's some things where you may choose to, decide that you would normally decide in a right space, in your right frame of mind. So make sure, and let me see that they got one more comment. So I have a comment says from Lashmi said, but can it work? It's all in the understanding of people. Yeah, it can work. And one of the things that I said, and we both said, is that you have to make sure if you're going to choose to do a threesome, you have to make sure you create your wins and your losses. Because let me tell you something. There's going to be some wins and there's going to be some losses. I don't care what you say. Yeah. I don't care how you crumble the cookie and say, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to do this, and I'm done. Nope. No. There's going to be some losses.
As they say, everything you do, there's some consequences behind it.
That's
everything you do, there's some consequences behind it. Maybe I would say maybe it might have had to not turn out as bad as it did if we had been like out of state on vacation. You know what I mean? Or something, and done it, and you ain't gonna never see that person again, or something other like that. Absolutely. Our mistake was, it was a friend.
You dealt with somebody you knew.
It was somebody we knew. Yeah. It was a convenience. Yeah. So, but you don't think about all of that stuff when you indulge.
You really don't.
When it's happening.
You know why you're not thinking about it? Because your emotional juices are flowing.
Right.
So you don't have time to think about it. All you thinking about is, I'm doing something new. My juices is flowing. We about to get it.
Right.
That's all you're thinking about. You're not thinking about the wins or the losses.
Right.
You're not thinking about that. You're only thinking about, I'm going to do this one time and I'm going to be done.
Yeah.
And so that's the hardest part about it. You just have to make sure you know what you're doing. There's another question. Was rules and boundaries set? In this case, and this is for you, Arnetta, she said, was rules and boundaries set? In this case, there was no, I don't think, and tell me if I'm wrong, there wasn't rules and boundaries. There was rules and boundaries set, but the rules and boundaries were broken.
Correct.
So they were set prior to.
Yeah, it was rules. It was plenty of, in my situation, there was plenty of discussion before it even came about. Yeah. And that's when we said, we're going to do this, but we're not going to do this. We do this, but we're not going to do this. So yes, you had to use protection and all of this. I mean, everything was discussed. All that stuff was discussed, but it was broken. It was just broken. And it was broken on the contingency of, we knew the person. Yeah. It was too close, right?
Yeah.
And my ex liked what he got, period. And he wanted more of what he got.
Yeah.
Regardless of what I was doing, he liked what he got.
Yeah, he had his own agenda.
And he had his own agenda, and he got it. So yes, rules and boundaries was set, but they were broken because there was another. So you know how they always say there's a meeting before the meeting. So there was another agenda behind it when it came down to it. You know.
Correct. So, my other question, I got another question for you, and this just popped up in my head. So, in a threesome, and this is just a question, I'm just gonna throw it out there. It might be rough, but I'm gonna throw it out there. So my question is, so you know, like when it's just one, you and your mate, okay? You know that, you know, between sexual intercourse, you know, between you and your mate, you know, two people can be pleased, right? How the hell all three people get pleased in a threesome? That's what I'm just, you know, how all three are gonna get pleased in a threesome?
Well, you know, like it can happen. It can happen. I mean,
so you're saying three people can, so all three can be pleased?
Oh yeah.
On the same level?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad you answered that question because I'm like, oh,
I can. But like I said in the beginning, you know, there was some drug enhancements that was used.
Yeah.
You know,
it enhances. So it does.
So you don't even, you know, you don't even think about it. But yes, because you have to think about the various different positions that can take place.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
So so you know, like you know, like we've had the conversation about bobblehead or no bobblehead. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And while one getting bobblehead, the other getting bobblehead. You know?
Yeah, the other one not getting nothing.
No.
If I'm going bobblehead, I'm gonna. If I got a bobblehead, I'm gonna smash this patty pop in your face.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry. It goes both ways.
Right.
But so, because the first one, you know, jumped off and we only had a few minutes left on this one, I want to wrap this up. I appreciate you being candid. I appreciate you being honest. I hope you guys that somebody learned from this. You choose to take the information and use the information however you want to use the information. But know that the information that's being given to you is given to you so you can choose the right to make that decision for you, not for somebody else.
Correct.
You make the decision because you choose to do it. And if you make that decision, accept whatever comes with it. The other thing I'm going to say is a threesome is something that you're either going to be happy about or you're not going to be happy about.
That's correct.
And so however you decide to do it, just make sure, be happy with your outcome and don't let it take you out of the game. And what I mean is don't let it stop you from dating people. Don't let it stop you from doing none of the above. Make sure you can, when you fall down, you can get back up.
Right.
And before I end, I want to talk about next Tuesday. Next Tuesday will be quarantine. We're going to do the third and final session of quarantine with singles. And so we're going to dive into that next week. And then next Friday, I'm not going to do Freaky Friday. I'm going to do it the following. I'm going to start every other. But I'm going to throw this out to you guys. I'm thinking about on one of my Freaky Fridays, and I could do it after. I can do it with the next one. Doing toys. And so I'm going to bring some different toys because I had somebody inbox me and say, you know what, I get so overwhelmed because there's so much out there. I don't know, I'm not educated on, the toy game. And so I'm going to purchase a bunch of toys and I'm going to share with you guys what those toys are used for. If you guys have something that you want me to discuss on Freaky Friday or even doing just chat with Auntie Nella, y'all inbox me, hit me up. I will be putting the information out there and letting you guys know after Tuesday what the next one will be after that, because it will be the following. It will be every other Tuesday. It won't be every Tuesday. And so I'll have a Freaky Friday one week, and then the Let's Chat the next week.
Okay.
That way it's just not so overwhelming to do them all every week. But let me go. I enjoyed everything. I appreciate you being candid. I know from day one you was like, I need to get on your After Dark show. So
Baby,
I got you on my After Dark show. So I'm glad that you got on here and was able to be my guest and share some stuff, because I think it's gonna help a lot of people. It's gonna help a lot of people. And absolutely. So Lashmi, my cousin, say sell them. I do. I used to sell them before, and I am gonna get back in the game to selling them again. But I want to introduce people to toys to kind of explain to them. So you guys let me know before I leave. Give me some hearts, send me some love. Inbox me. Don't be afraid to inbox me. axauntienella@yahoo.com. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have the link on my Let's Chat with Auntie Nella page. Click on that link and subscribe, because it also lets you know when I'm on. All right, love you guys. Have a good weekend.
If I could say before we get off, just let me say that my life is an open book. So I'm not ashamed.
Absolutely.
And
Yep. Me either.
So if you have any questions or any hesitation or want to look at me cockeyed and cocksided, baby, it's not gonna bother me at all, because I did it out of the kindness of my heart. So love y'all.
Me too.
Thank you for having me
love
on.
you guys
Anytime you want to talk, baby, let's talk.
Absolutely. You know I'm pulling you back on because I got some more out there.
All right.
You know I'm going to pull you back on. I appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate you.
Have a good night, you guys.
All right. Good night.
Bye-bye.